Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me here at Esther Gates 5D Energy. I've got my friend Cheryl here with me today. And you've seen her before. She's done interviews with the Galactic Command and all of the energies that I channel. They've turned out great. Today, we're going to try something a little different. Cheryl and I are going to be talking about boundaries. And we got into this discussion after we discussed a really cool trip that she took to Mexico. And then some changes happened in her life. They started before she left, and then she got to contemplate on how these things affected her. And this trip gave her some time to really think about the changes in her life and how they've affected her. So I thought this was a really good topic, and so did she. So we're just going to spend a little bit of time here discussing it. Cheryl, thank you for coming on, and I appreciate you sharing your experience with us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate being invited back. So, yay. Hello, everybody. Yes, Esther is correct. I was away in Mexico. It was a trip that I had been called to do for a long time and went with some fabulous friends and had some very interesting, what's the word I want? Experiences, but it was much more profound experiences, I guess. And one of them was we went to Teotihuacan, to the Pyramid of the Sun and the Pyramid of the Moon. And I've never had the experience before when you step into a space and you instantly connect with a past life, a past memory, whatever it was. It was so profound. And I know now why I was called to go there, but it also continued into another space. It was a retreat center to a quartz mountain. And that in itself was absolutely spectacular. And what I realized when I was there was that it's easy for us, and most of you light workers are going to know this, to be of service to everybody else, and we lose ourselves in the process because we're so busy doing for family, for work, for employers, for friends, for community. That's where the conversation of boundaries came up. So, Esther?
Well, I think that was a good topic because a lot of us don't realize or even really contemplate what setting boundaries means.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds kind of difficult, or like you have to be really strong and set a boundary, like it's a overwhelming kind of sense of how do you do that, and where does that term fit in your life. It can be in many different ways. Boundaries can be set for yourself primarily to give you the time to do the things you need to take care of yourself. So basically, that's why you want to set boundaries. And the way that our time gets encroached upon and the way that we experience life can kind of get away from us a little bit, kind of feeling like you have a tiger by the tail at times when you're trying to do a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And light workers love to be in service to humanity. They love to help people. But we gave the example of a friend earlier. Remember, we were talking earlier
Mm-hmm.
of the lady who was trying to approach being a healer. And she kept trying to get advice on what she should do with her life on a job that she should pursue, right? And many different people were giving her advice, and some of them were insisting that she be a healer. And she kept looking into that, and she realized that she couldn't support herself on that. And she
Mm-hmm.
said, when push came to shove, she had to really make a decision. She says, the way this is going, I might end up living in my car because it's the energy just wasn't flowing for her in that direction. So she made a decision to go out and get a regular job, doing something based on experience that she had had in the past. Now, she had relocated, she had changed a lot of her lifestyle. The business partner she had passed away. So she was doing this same skill, but she offered it up to people where she lived in her area. And she let the things flow. And sure enough, she found a really good job in her area and was able to support herself. And so, how does this fit into boundaries? Well, because eventually she had to realize to set that boundary that she needed to listen to her gut instinct on what to do for
Mhm.
herself. No one else could make that decision for her. It was on the line for her. She had to support herself. So you see, she had to step out and make a decision and do something in her favor here. And she did it, and it worked for her. And we were so glad to hear that she was doing well, but this is one of those times where you may get advice from people, even light workers, even spiritual people, giving it
Yes.
their best advice for you. But when it comes on the line to supporting yourself, taking care of yourself, set that boundary that you listen to what is going on inside of you. Tune into that, to what's real for you, right? Because no one was going to step in and pay her bills. Not at that moment. They weren't
Nope.
offering that. That wasn't something on the table for her. And she realized that. She says, "Oh, no, this is my responsibility. I need to take care of myself now." And she did it. So if you find yourself in that place where you need to make those decisions, you can get advice from well meaning people. But just remember, when it's on the line, when you need to support yourself, yes, you can pull in a balanced spirit, go into meditation and think about it. But go also with your common sense, with your gut, that when it's important for you to step out, set that boundary that I love this advice, but I've got to do it my way. And there's
Mm.
no judgment. There's nothing wrong with that. What do you think about that, Cheryl?
I love it, and the way you just said that, doing it your way, because it's easy for someone to look from the outside in at your particular situation or your particular whatever's going on in your life and give advice, but they don't know the nuances. They don't know the ins and outs. They don't know what they don't know. So their advice is coming from their perspective, and that may not match up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to set those boundaries, being able to say, no, no, I said I'll work 10 hours a week. I will work 10 hours a week. I'm not working 11. I'm not working 15, and I'm not working 40. So being able to set them, have some flexibility. Of course, everything is moving, and the energy right now is the energy right now is very flexible.
Mm-hmm.
I
It
don't
is
think
going up
energy
and
has
down.
boundaries. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so being able to allow yourself to go with the flow of that energy is going to be so much easier on your body, on your spirit, on your emotions, on every aspect of you. Because if we're very stringent and we're very stuck and we're so worried about making sure everyone else is cared for, we're the ones that get run down.
Right. Right. And so even the work boundary, there may be some flexibility in there, but you just want to be upfront and honest about your availability or your skill set. And I find that being honest with yourself first,
Yes.
what you want, and then being honest with other people, even if you think they might not like what you have to say, that's not necessarily true. I think we sometimes scare ourselves and are afraid to speak up and be honest about maybe what we are looking for in a job or even a relationship because we feel like they might not like what we have to say about it.
Mhm.
But you know what? Opening up and being honest is a sense of freedom that you can have. And then with compassion, for someone that might not feel the same way as you, okay, but at least you got it out there and you said what you think. And it can be done in a very diplomatic way. It doesn't have to be done in a harsh way, you know, in a demeaning way to others.
Mhm.
But you
Mhm.
can speak your mind. You can be honest when you're looking for employment. Be honest with yourself first. What am I really wanting here in a relationship or a job? What am I really looking for? and then be honest with your skill set and with others. And you'd be surprised what might be opportunities might come your way in ways that you didn't expect, right? Because you opened up a little bit and they could see that you were willing to learn, that you were willing to change. And that's that energy that's going up and down. That's the energy of change. And
Mhm.
whenever we're in that energy, it's like waves coming at you. And you're riding them, and then you're down, and then you're up. And that's okay. That's happening to everyone. And it's speeding up is what we're noticing,
Oh
right?
yeah.
It used to be that these things were kind of just trickling in our life, and we could, we'd have spurts or
Manage.
whatever. Right, manage it. But now there's an acceleration of energy here that affects every part of our life. And I think that's why we're just asking everyone to look inside their self, see where they can set some boundaries, be honest with yourself and others about what you want, and
Mhm.
don't feel guilty about that. Don't feel guilty about it. Let it be, because you might be surprised at people that have a place for you. It might not be the light worker that your friend is, or the way they're doing it in their business. It might be a different way for you. Check in with your gut. Are you on the line? Do you need to pay some bills? Do you need to take care of some things? That's okay. So set the boundary to be able to do that, and not push it under the rug and try and cover it up, or push it down the road. And allow yourself to feel that and enjoy your life by doing it this way. Does that make sense, Cheryl?
I think it makes perfect sense. And as you're talking, what I keep hearing is my guide saying, um, quite often we have a belief, and this has come up for me recently, so that could be why we're having this conversation. Who are you letting down?
Mm,
And what is letting somebody down? What is this thing that it's obvious a belief? I can think of instances playing team sports. Well, don't let the team down, or
mhm,
don't let your parents down, or don't let your coworkers down. And we carry this around with us.
mhm.
We don't do things for ourselves. So the boundaries, to me, go hand in hand with don't let somebody down. So reviewing that, what does that mean? What does it mean to let somebody down, and who are you actually letting down? Because when we start looking at it, more often than not, the one we're letting down
Is
is
ourselves.
ourselves.
Yeah. And that's where that anger and frustration comes in, bubbles up. And then we kind of get triggered by other people, but really it's our own anger and frustration at ourselves
100%.
that is so right there, because we're just not handling things in a way that for us makes sense. We're doing it in a way just for others that makes sense. So it's not about, cutting off everybody and joining the circus, running away. We would like sometimes to
Although some days you feel like you
you
want to
feel
run away, and I
right.
totally understand
Yeah,
that.
or pulling the covers over our head and saying, go world, go away. I don't exist here anymore. There's feelings where you get overwhelmed like that. So in those cases, it's time to start looking inside and seeing where we can set some boundaries for ourselves, even if it's just little ways, and not being
Mhm.
afraid to be honest about, hey, I'm setting a boundary here because I need to in this area of my life, and being honest about that. People will admire you for that many times. You will be surprised at people that may not always agree with your boundary, but may honor it because they understand.
Mhm.
So that's where the judgment comes in, to not judge yourself so harshly for wanting to do things that way, to make your life a little easier right now with all the up and down energy, right?
I love this conversation, and I'd be very curious to hear what your whoever's going to come through today has to say about this, because I'm
I,
really, yeah, if you'd be willing
yeah,
to channel, that would be very cool,
yep.
Esther.
I'm going to go into channel and see what the guides have to say, because
Yeah,
they always have a little bit different perspective than we
of
do, don't
course.
they? Right.
They do.
So let me just relax and go into channel. And this vessel steps back And we step forward as the Pleiadian Council. We are a group of one mind of many beings here in this council. And we have been listening to this conversation. And we are again reminding you that we are part of a galactic federation. And it is harmonious. It works together in support of humanity. That is who we are. And we are close to each and every one of you. Humans have lived from many different perspectives. Many of you have seen a lot of changes in your life from where you were when you were younger to who you are now. And all of those experiences have been valid. They can be honored. The energy has shifted on this planet in a way that you have not experienced before. We would say in the past 5 years, it has changed dramatically. So the person you were in the other energy, some of the challenges you had in the older energy, even as a younger person or a younger adult, can be let go of. And we ask you to let go of it, not because it's bad, but because it's in the past. It's simply been seen, experienced, and integrated. And in the new energy that you're in now, instead of carrying it around and reliving any past experiences, seeing them as mistakes, or I wish I had done it this way, or I wish I had done it that, you see, let that go. You have a lot of vast experience that is available to you from many lifetimes that you have had. Draw forward the good stuff. So as you go into that quiet space, ask for the good stuff, the information that will be most helpful for you to make important decisions in your life, to make daily decisions in your life. Ask within yourself, where do I need to set some boundaries, perhaps? You may have to ask yourself for permission to be honest with yourself, you see, and step aside a little bit, because many of you carry around a heavy judgment on yourself, on perhaps things that you have done in the past that you have not liked or have happened that have been traumatic for you. And we would ask that you honor that, but step aside of it a little bit in the way that don't allow it to push your energy around anymore. For you are in this moment of now to experience it like a clean slate a bit. Let's clear the slate. Let's clear all the writing on the chalkboard of who we think we are in our story. Let's just erase that a bit. And it's always there and it's integrated within you, these experiences. But let's enjoy who we are now and go from here in the new energy that supports you. And so setting boundaries is part of that. It's natural to want to help everyone as a light worker. It's natural to want to say yes to everything. But there are times when it is more important for you to take care of yourself. And now is one of them. When the energy is shifting into high gear, working on yourself and setting boundaries is part of building a good foundation for yourself and moving forward. Things are speeding up. Time is speeding up. It's changing. The way you experience time is going to change. It already is. If you haven't noticed, it's going to feel a little different to you, the way you experience time. So setting boundaries is part of that foundation. Using your common sense, getting really balanced and being honest. What is it that I need? How can I help myself? I listen to the advice of others. I practice some of the good spiritual practices or things that I've learned. These are tools to help me get in touch with who I truly am right here and right now. And this is the way we want you to stay present and move forward. And we thank you for listening to this discussion, and know that you have a guidance system here willing to help you so that you don't have to walk your path alone. So to help you remember who you truly are. And we ask you to be willing to tap into this information, to open, to journal it if you have to allow a quiet moment, even when you're driving your car, for this information to be downloaded to you, to help you clear the way on your path so that you can find, as the unique person that you are, what is best for you. We honor you and we love you. And so it is.
Wow. Thank you. Woo.
Thank you, Cheryl. And thank you
Pleiadian
so
Council.
much. Yes, the Pleiadian Council. And I thank you for joining me today for this discussion. Coming back in my body a little bit.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I totally understand. Nothing to apologize for. Been there, done that. I fully understand. Takes a minute to reintegrate.
Right. Get my bearings here a little bit, but yes. And I will just leave it with that energy and let people relax into everything that they said today.
Agreed.
Just be at peace with what is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just be at peace with that as we go on our individual paths, and we meet here in the middle and we have a discussion, and then we go back to our normal life and we integrate everything that we learn so that we can apply these things to our life to make it better. That's how I see it. What about you?
Perfect. Perfect. I think you said the words the other day that I absolutely love them. Simple, but profound.
Yes. Everyone's life can be simple, yet profound. And that shouldn't get lost on each and every one of us, really.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. And we've enjoyed this discussion with everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.